You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Every now and then you fall victim to the hype and pre-order the special edition of a new release title at an extravagant cost. This is full price. Hey there, I'm Davey.
And I'm Mitch, and we are
The Bargain Bin Gamers. That's right, we did it. And you're going to be hearing that every episode from now on. Isn't that fabulous?
Aren't they lucky?
Look at the chemistry we have.
It's free to listen to too, didn't you know?
Exactly. Unless you would like to support the network over at patreon.com/BQN, we need your money. This costs a lot.
Yes, and this is in the first minute. We're already asking for money. So
Exactly. We just spent $15 per pint on 2 rounds of beers. We don't have much money left. We don't have much money
the
left.
Windsor inflation cost.
Yeah. Well, anyway, look, this is the podcast, YouTube channel, and Twitch stream in which we play the cheapest and shittest video games out there so that you do not have to.
And hopefully we find a few hidden gems along the way.
Yeah, and we do.
We
They
usually
are
do.
out there, yeah. Not a lot, but some.
Tune in and you'll find out.
Exactly. So, Mitch, this week I have been not bargain bin gaming, I'm afraid to say.
You've been affluent bin gaming.
Affluent bin gaming.
Big word.
I have been playing a new release game, a much hyped new release game, and I paid full price for the fucking thing.
The mouse got ya.
The mouse, whoever Mickey. I was like, seriously, 2 pints and this one, honestly. Look, I've been playing the much hyped Star Wars Outlaws. You've heard of it?
I've been advertised it.
Yes.
It has been blasted all over my slovenly non-YouTube premium page. So every time I try and watch a video, it'll pop up every now and then.
Well, I have YouTube Premium and I'm still having it advertised to me. So it's a thing. It's a thing. So look, let's break this down a little bit, right? So I was excited to play this. I'm about to have 2 weeks of FUNemployment and I was like, all right, I don't often dive into a big AAA title anymore. Yeah. And I was like, this looks really cool. Like the trailers look great. The visuals look incredible.
And post what was the last one? Fallen Order? What's the most recent?
The Jedi Survivor ones?
Yeah, they were good.
They were good.
Yeah. Post that, you'd be like, oh.
Yeah,
okay.
but this time, so the little mouse or the big mouse.
The big mouse.
Yeah, the big mouse.
Mouse.
So they've handed over the reins to our mates at Ubisoft. So
Righto.
Exactly. I mean, well, from one, big development house that is absolutely destroying game to another. So anyway, previously EA has been handling the franchise.
Yeah.
I don't know how Ubisoft managed to land the license, but a bunch of Ubisoft executives were like, oh yeah.
They creamed. They creamed in their baguette pants.
In their what pants?
Baguette pants, because they're French Canadian.
True. I've been to the French parts of Canada, and I don't know if I saw a lot of baguettes.
Did they cream though?
I mean, you could have cream on them if you wanted. Anyway, so look, Star Wars Outlaws is an open world game which is set in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
I never really saw the original trilogy. I grew up on the OG, the first.
Which is where this is set, yeah.
Yeah. So Revenge of the Sith was always my favorite game. Movie. Attack of the
that's not the original trilogy.
No,
that's the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, but they're like the first. They're number 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, but they're terrible.
Yeah, they're not.
Okay.
The first one's kind of bad. But then I only saw the original trilogy kind of later in life. So like I'm like an okay Star Wars fan.
So anyway, what's interesting about this game is, unlike a lot of other Star Wars games where they want you to feel like you're some kind of Jedi master.
You're the chosen one.
Yeah, this one so you play as, what's her name? Kves.
A girl.
Yeah. Kves, hello representation.
Women can be criminals too. You heard it here first.
Exactly. Wow. Anyway, no, so you play as Kves, who is, and I'm taking this from Ubisoft's website, iPad up, a scoundrel seeking freedom and the means to start a new life along with her companion, Nyx. Fight, steal, and outwit your way through the galaxy's crime syndicates as you join the galaxy's most wanted.
Wow.
Which is, it's actually quite cool.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, so if you've seen the Han Solo movie,
I have unfortunately been held at gunpoint to watch that movie.
I fell asleep through it. It's got that kind of aesthetic to it, right? So it's more about that seedy criminal underworld of the post-Empire galaxy. And yeah, and there's all these different criminal factions, and you can do jobs for them and align to them. Big open world Star Wars universe, right? Fabulous.
Could go wrong.
What could go wrong? The
find
fact that I paid $169 bloody dollars, $169.95. Let's just call that $170 and call it a night.
Let's round it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So $170 for the pre-order.
Have you heard about this Cosy Live crisis we're going on? What for a game?
I know, and I'm unemployed right now, so
FUNemployed.
Exactly, I'm FUNemployed. What money do I have to spend? I don't even have 2 sticks to rub together, and I'm dropping $170
on a Ubisoft game.
On an Ubisoft. Ubisoft. That's not even the most expensive edition of this game you can buy.
Fuck me, righto, go on.
Do you want to play a bit of Prices Right?
Yeah, I'm down. Okay,
cool. All right, so how much is the most expensive edition?
I'm not going to look at the note. I'm going to say $200.
Lower.
Oh, thank God. 185.
Higher.
190.
Slightly lower.
189.99.
Holy fuckballs, you got it right. Yes.
Ding, ding, ding.
Well, 189. So, yeah. By comparison, even the standard edition for digital version on the PlayStation Store, $110.
What the fuck is wrong with
But the standard edition is, like the physical copy is $89 at Big W. I am not affiliated with Big W in any way, shape or form, but I'm just saying.
If they want to sponsor, let us know.
Yeah, but I also can't be bothered going to Big W.
It's not, it usually isn't worth the trip unless you like the homewares section. I don't mind it.
Yeah, okay, cool.
For that only. I'm not buying a video game from Big W, though.
Yeah. So what do you think you get for $170 for this new game?
Let me guess. So you get the game.
Yeah.
What a steal. You get a cool jacket that is exclusive to the DLC.
Probably.
And you get an emote. An emote.
An emote.
And not an emote, an emote.
Well, given that the fact that the main character has been animated, like her face is basically animated to look like someone who's just had way too much Botox in her eyeballs.
So mocap from a friend of ours or something.
There's no emotion happening there whatsoever.
Good.
No, look, actually, you get some all right stuff, right? I mean, for the most part, you actually got to play it 3 days before release. That was okay.
Okay.
That was okay. That was the main reason I got it, because I was like, I'm a podcaster. I want to be playing this before everyone else.
I got to get my finger on the pulse. Let's go.
And finger firmly on it. And you got the DLC season pass.
What
and some
could that
other
possibly mean?
Well, it just means that any extra missions and stuff like that, they release long after I've stopped caring about the game.
You get them.
I'll get them for free.
Nice.
Yeah. Let me just talk a little bit about what I like and dislike about this game. Right?
Please, because as someone who hasn't played it, I want to know, is it worth it? Like, is it worth my $170?
No. Absolute no.
That's so much.
But it's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's just okay, right? For all the hype and all the effort that's gone into it, it's just okay.
What a Star Wars IP.
Yeah, exactly.
How far the mighty have fallen. It's now just okay.
Yeah. Star Wars, the derivative edition. So what I like is that it's okay. For the most part, it is quite visually stunning.
Yeah.
Like very, very visually stunning. You know, there's great performances from, like, vocal performances from the cast.
Yeah, they're really important.
Yeah, and we talked last week about world building. Everything feels very lived in and real. Like when you're on, because, it's this big open world. You can, and by open world, I mean open galaxy.
Open galaxy,
it's
yeah.
not like No Man's Sky version of open galaxy, but, you've got
Set maps on set planets.
different planets, and there's lots to do, and it feels very lived in, and there's just lots of stuff happening.
Lots of crime.
It's lots of detail, baby. There's elements of it that remind me of Mass Effect.
Oh, yeah, I
a little
love
bit.
Mass Effect.
Yeah, a little bit Mass Effect-y in parts, just with the way when you're roaming around the spaceports and little conversations you can hear and all that kind of stuff. What I really dislike about it does nothing new. It plays it so bloody safe, and I feel like that is just the MO of the Ubisofts and the EAs and all that kind of stuff out
These
there.
big conglomerates that are just swallowing up all this game space to
Yeah,
just
yeah,
do the
yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's bits of gameplay I don't like. There's an over reliance on stealth in a lot of the missions. I am not a stealth person. I just like to get in there and get it done.
Get your hands dirty.
Yeah,
Get it done.
Just get it done.
Yeah.
It's
blow up a few bitches.
is what anyone who's ever slept with me would say.
You're not wrong. Honestly.
Yeah,
And I've taken polls.
yeah,
I've asked.
exactly. I've been a part of that study. So look, and what I found is so it literally feels like every Ubisoft open world, your Assassin's Creeds, your Watch Dogs, everything, all that kind of stuff, with a Star Wars coat of paint on it.
Yeah.
Now, I know some people who are diehard Star Wars fans who are like, well, we love it. And it is actually quite entertaining to play. I mean, as of time of recording, I've sunk about 20 hours into it.
Yeah.
And there's lots of fun little things to do, and it's quite entertaining. It's not perfect. It's been released in a little bit of a buggy state graphically.
Like every fucking AAA game.
Yeah, and one of the things I don't like is that you get this choice now on PS5 and Xbox One games or Xbox whatever. What Xbox do I own?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm a PlayStation girly. I don't get it.
Well,
I don't know.
Okay, anyway, well, let's just go PS5. You get the option between performance and quality.
Yeah.
Now, performance is meant to look, it's meant to be more smoother frame rate, but less fidelity in the graphics. And then quality is obviously like, oh my God, it looks amazing. And it does look amazing. But you can't play it like that.
Yeah.
I
It
just
runs like a
cannot
fucking-
play
runs
like
like
a
molasses.
25, 30 frame rate per section.
Yeah, no.
No, it just doesn't work.
Not in our Lord's year of 2024.
Okay, so the Make It Gay. Let's do the Make It Gay segment.
Make it gay. Do-do-do.
Okay, so at this point in my playthrough, I am not seeing any queer representation.
Wow,
that I've
that's
come across so far.
rare from the big mouse.
However, I really like Kay.
Yeah. Tell me more about it.
Not ketamine, but Kay. Kay is her name.
Uh-huh.
Kay. As a female lead, she's confident, she's funny, she's intelligent, and she does not seem overly sexualized in a way for horny players, horny male players, as
Which
far
is
as I
good.
can tell.
Thank you to the Forerunner Aloy for that.
Yeah. But what I did come across is some articles online from the anti-woke types, right?
Fuck me, Rodo.
Like, and you know what? Don't ever use the term woke as an insult against me because I'm not ashamed of it.
No.
Anyway.
In fact, I wear it with pride.
Exactly.
You're the weird one.
Woke pride. Anyway, that they were complaining that she was not feminine enough for them,
What's
or
feminine?
some bullshit like that. Also, I came across some rage that you have no option to play as a man.
Oh my God, get over
Like
it.
that hasn't been the default in decades of gaming. And the worst that I found was criticism that she did not have big boobs.
Oh my God. These people need to touch grass. They need to smell the air.
Yeah,
They need
yeah.
to open up their room, let the man smell waft out,
Yeah.
crinkle over their mother cans, and just like go outside.
I'm going to keep playing it. I've spent a lot of effing money on it. So
we're not swearing now, are we?
no, I don't know. Beep. I've spent a lot of money on it, so obviously I need to see it through, and I've got 2 weeks of being FUNemployed in which to play through it. Which
And
is
there are,
wonderful.
as you said, there are some positives to it. It looks good. It's got a nice main character. The
Yeah.
world seems like it's got good detail.
Yeah. And look, and Star Wars, I'm neither here nor there on Star Wars. It's got some tropes of Star Wars, like the cutesy little character. So Nyx, her little animal creature that she sends off to like distract guards and all that kind of stuff. And of course, it's adorable. Look out for plushies of it all over Disneyland this Christmas.
Right.
And there's a droid.
Of course, there always is.
It's a funny droid. Well,
funny, quirky droid.
Well, no, this one's kind of like he's more like a hard-ass droid, but he's got like a heart of gold.
Is it because is he
she
hard
wants to
ass?
change him.
Is he like the one in Rogue One? Was it Rogue One where it's like, I don't get sarcasm?
Yeah.
Is it kind of like that where it's kind of like a straight man?
Yeah.
Not like a straight man, but like playing the straight man character, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So anyway, and the last thing I'll end on with that before we kind of move on to our next topic is, okay, it's an open world game. I think people were very excited by the prospect of an open world Star Wars game. However, like I said before, it does nothing new. And it is riddled. Roll
that up. My goodness.
With open world cliches, right? So there's a lock picking mini game.
There always is.
Which I hate.
Skyrim made me hate it, and then every game since.
If anyone's been watching me stream it on Twitch, because I've been streaming it on Twitch, you'll just see me come, fuck. So there's that. There's the stealth, which
is the stealth like. There's only like certain stealthy spots that you can like hide in. She's invisible.
Well, like half them. Yeah, exactly. In the long grass.
Yeah,
stay out in the long grass.
Yeah. Well, as a Pokemon player, I know that. But,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I always hate that where it's like, oh, it's just a long grass. You can only be invisible there.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. And then there's some missions where like stealth is an option, but it's probably your only option because you're going to get shot the fuck up if you don't use stealth.
Not shot the fuck up.
Yeah. And other times where it's just like 100% do not get caught or you'll go right back to the beginning of the mission.
Oh, I hate those where it's like one person they're like, oi, and then it just ends. You got to go back.
That's the creepy stealth music.
Oh,
from
okay,
like
sorry.
Ocarina of Time. Anyway, so look, this got me to thinking. It got us to talking. It got us to talk.
Sure did.
We talk.
We yap.
We do. We yap. We come up with ideas.
We have a podcast, of course. We fucking yap.
Exactly. So, what are some of the worst open world cliches and tropes? Who were the worst offenders and where did they originate from? Mitch, take it away. What have you got?
Yeah, good question. So I did a lot of research on this and I did a lot of community feedback, aka Reddit, and I've narrowed it down to what I personally think are the 6 worst cliches when it comes to these open world games. They've been around for so long.
Is this a top 6?
I think it's top 6.
Top 6.
So I've started from the one that I find the most noticeable.
Yeah.
They're the outpost or tower view mechanic. So
yeah.
Some of the examples that I have here are things like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, the Sheikah Towers, and the fucking towers that they're shot in the air. They have a name. Can't remember what they are.
Yeah.
And things like Far Cry 3, like the radio towers. Have you ever played the Far Cry games?
You're not for a while, but yeah.
Yeah. Far Cry 3, they had these radio towers where the whole map was jammed. You had to go and like unjam it and then it would give you part of the map.
Yeah.
Fucking pisses me off.
Yeah. And you've always got to like climb it. It's a bit of an effort to climb it.
There's always like a little thing around it to piss you off as well. Like something that is going to stop you from getting up there. In Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, it's like there's enemies or there's like thorn bushes around or shit like that. And in Far Cry, you have to beat people and kill them. Great fun. But it basically restricts you from having access to the map.
Okay, yeah.
I don't like that. I want to be able to see the map. I want to be able to interact with it. I want to know where I'm going. And as I saw online, a lot of people hate it because it's become massive. Do you want to guess where it started from? I'll give you a guess as to where climbing up a high tower and seeing the map is.
Assassin's Creed?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was the earliest one I could find, Assassin's Creed, the original. It was good in the original. Totally got it. Post that, it's just been tired.
These maps are usually huge and there's a lot going on in these worlds, right? So is it a bit of a way to just kind of allow the game or the map and everything you can do on the map to just unveil itself to you slowly?
I think it is a slowdown mechanic, but if you look at, what would be a good example? If you look at Skyrim,
right?
Skyrim doesn't have that. It doesn't have all the waypoints because you discover them when you interact with the place, but you can see the whole map. You know where all the key points are. You can be like, ooh, let's explore. I feel like this way is a little bit lazier. It's like, well, we don't want you to go there yet. Go to this central point and then you can see everything.
Yeah, okay.
So it almost turns exploring into like a chore.
Mind you, Star Wars Outlaws didn't hasn't done this as far as I can
That's
tell.
good. Yeah.
All the little icons appear, and here's all the little mini games and other little activities you can go and
It takes
do.
away exploring.
Yeah, exactly.
It simultaneously forces the player to do a certain action, which isn't the point of the game, being able to make it a unique experience. But everyone has to climb these fucking towers and everyone has to do the same thing. But it tells you where everything is. And some of the best parts about games is that you can explore them and figure out where all the secrets are.
Yeah.
If the game's going to tell you where the secrets are, then what the fuck's the point?
It's too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
It gives you, what's that thing? Choice paralysis.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm supposed to go.
But it also leads to you not really wanting to do all that stuff.
No.
Now, I'm at a stage in my life where I'm a little time poor.
I thought you were FUNemployed.
I swore too much in the last episode. For 2 weeks. For 2
We'll
weeks.
work on it.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right? Okay, so, and I'm going to keep relating back to Star Wars Outlaws because it does a lot of this where you're traveling around and someone's like, "Oh, you're over here. I've got something for you to do, mate." Like, it's like...
And there go the British
It's
listeners.
like, well, no. Okay, everyone is British in this game. Everyone
What
is
a Star Wars
or
trope.
Australian. Like, but it's like, who walks down the street and someone's just like, "Oi, go and find me mum and collect me baubles for me." Like,
See,
it's
I think Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom does that better, where you'll see an NPC and a little icon will be above their head, being like, and they'll be talking to themselves, and you can choose to interact with them, not them accosting you.
yeah, but then there's always like the card game or something like that, and I do not care.
I don't want to play a game in a game.
Well, I mean, look, some people like it. I was talking to some people, Sabak or whatever the game is in Outlaws. So there are some people who are loving playing it, and sure, cool, more power to you. But like, there's all these distractions going on around the main narrative, and I feel no compulsion to go and do them.
No. Something that I found that was also more of a newer issue, and it has its own name as well, which I found from Reddit, is the yellow paint virus. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah, it's in Outlaws.
Yeah. So that was why I brought it up, because I know it was in Outlaws, but it's that climbable spaces trope. So you think back to games like Assassin's Creed, I think they did this really well, which is things are traversable now.
Yeah.
You can traverse through a lot of games. There's a lot of different ways to do it. You've got Spider-Man where you can fling yourself across a fucking city. You've got Breath of the Wild where you can just stick to any surface. And then you've got games like in Star Wars Outlaws where they're like, climb here, and it's just yellow paint on something for no discernible reason because the game doesn't trust you to figure out how to climb.
Yeah, there's a few games that do that as well.
So two of the biggest ones that I noticed, well, at least that I thought of off the dome, was the Tomb Raider remake in 2013.
Yeah.
They had
Not an open world game.
No. That wasn't solely open world, but they had it where you would be going to a certain temple that hadn't been visited for 10,000 years, 4,000 years. And there's just some white chalk telling you where to climb.
Yeah.
I thought we were the
Big
one.
arrow here.
Pretty much, yeah. And then also a fairly recent game is the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the remake of that game. They had it where you'd be climbing certain sections and it'd just be yellow paint. Where to go, how to do it, these little bits to climb. And it's like the game developers have not developed the game and the way to climb in an organic way. So they're just like, here, climb here.
And that's been around for decades.
Yeah.
I can remember it as far back as the Uncharted games.
I'm pretty sure that's where it started. You've got the yellow ropes, you've got the yellow timber, you've got the yellow stones in the ancient texts, ancient temples. And to me, the discourse that I saw online was that there's mixed bag. Sometimes it's hard to find, whereas sometimes where to go is hard to find.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes some games can just teach you how to do the climbing mechanic properly, and then you never need to highlight things. So the yellow paint curse is definitely a more of a niche pick, but it's littered throughout a lot of games.
God, it's interesting how long some of these things have persisted.
Yeah.
And it does make me worry about the mainstream AAA market, right? And just how much it's become about revenue and profits for these companies, where they will just continue to reuse the same shit over and over again.
Well, it's the reusing of assets, and I mentioned it before. It's that
It's just not even assets. It's just gameplay mechanics. It's just like, let's just throw all of these different mechanics that are tried and true into the one pot, throw a different fresh Star Wars or whatever coat of paint on them, and hype it up with the latest visuals. And I think that's really how that's
get you with the visuals.
that's what these ones can do, right?
they get you with the visuals and the IP.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, oh, you see this thing that looks incredible, and they do look incredible,
especially with the new
but
TVs.
it's not enough anymore.
No, looking good isn't the be all and end all, and I firmly believe that because I play old Pokemon games and I play fucking Breath of the Wild, which is all cell shaded.
Yeah,
I don't need to see 4K graphics to enjoy a game. I need a good game.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and that moves on to another point, and this is actually a really big pet peeve of mine, which is the repetitive side quest trope.
Fetch quest.
Fetch quest, guard me. I have to go somewhere. Ugh. Get there yourself, you lazy bitch.
Exactly. Jeez, if only someone would go over to the other side of the map and get me berries.
It's like, you've played Tears of the Kingdom, haven't you?
Yes.
The fucking Koroks. Help, I need to see my friend. Can you get me over there? No. Have you seen those videos of where people tie them to a cross and set them on fire?
Yeah, but okay, so in defense of Tears of the Kingdom, though, I mean, those were more like challenges.
They are.
They were puzzles.
They're more puzzles
to be solved.
These are more like infinite quests that pop up in these games. And a massive example is the Fallout 4/76 ones. I did a bit of research into these ones, like those fetch quests, the guard quests, the little things. They actually infinitely run in those games. They never end. You can do them forever. They're just there to busy out and pad out the game. What a fucking waste of time. If they give you something really exciting, that's really good on them. But like I said, in Fallout, they're borderline useless. They're just there to look like the world is full of life. They're just there to seem interesting. And a really recent pet peeve of mine is if anyone's played the new Skull and Violet DLC, the Blueberry Academy, there's this thing called BBQs.
Sorry, the Blueberry Academy?
Yeah. There's an academy called Blueberry Academy.
Sounds like something out of the Wiggles.
It sounds like a Winx Club thing.
Deary me.
You go to this fucking school and you sign up and they give you these things called BBQs, Blueberry Quests. And they're literally
not
just
a barbecue.
No, I wish.
Not a BBQ shape.
It is a little bit of like a haha, aren't we funny issue, but it's literally just go and see this Pokemon. You finish it and another one just pops up.
Right.
And then you go and do another one and it just pops up again. And it's just a way to accrue these points that don't exist to access more of the game.
Yeah.
Why are you limiting the game from me?
I believe we call that a grind.
Yeah, well, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Especially in a DLC. This is a DLC add-on. Why am I doing a grind?
Yeah, and these things all generally exist to, you can ignore them all, generally, right?
You can, most of them.
And it's there to enrich and prolong the experience for the most part. And, you can get more rewards that maybe make your character a little bit more powerful or more money so you can buy more power-ups and all that kind of stuff, right? So the general idea is like, hey, you can go from point A to point B to point C and finish the game and just experience the plot, and that's fine. However, look over here.
Yeah.
Like,
but I guess the argument that I saw online, and I do agree with it, is the game should be winding and weaving and flowing instead of just going point A, point B, point C and having little side tracks. It should be able to throw you off and not have exactly a linear story. So, I mean, not to fucking suck its dick all podcast, but Elden Ring is really good at that, where there's no such thing as a side quest. There's no such thing as really a main story. Yeah, there's key points you need to go through, but there's like 50 different ways to do it. And I think we mentioned this offline as well, where some of these games that are coming up that are more Soulsborne-y, I think that's almost like the way they're going to start going. They're going to forego a lot of these traditional side quests and have more side quests that tie into the story or have their own little arcs and things like that, which I think are a bit better. These ones, which is like the fucking follow a dog around or something and make sure it doesn't get killed in the wasteland or Fallout. Like, what are we doing? That's not aiding the gameplay really at all. So
Elden Ring has been sucked dry by this point.
I'm going to keep going. It's having a Cialis as we speak, and I'm about to keep going. So, but with that one, I wasn't able to really find much of an origin for it. I think it's just been a game padding device for a while.
And I think your next one kind of ties into something to do that's kind of similar, right? Which is...
This is actually a personal bane of mine.
Yeah.
I actually hate this. I became conscious during this period when I was playing Skyrim, but this is the reused NPC dialogue and the character models. So there's nothing quite immersion breaking than going to a town, talking to a guard, talking to a character, going to the next town and talking to the same bitch again.
Yeah.
You're in a different place. They should be different. And I know it's a little bit of extra work, but this is the little TLC that we're talking about that makes these cut and paste games that we're talking about look shit compared to some of these Elden Ring games. You know what I mean? Like you've got the classic Skyrim arrow to the knee with the guards.
Yeah.
You can interact with that 70 80, 90 times while playing through a playthrough of Skyrim. Are they all the same person?
Yeah, I mean, but back then, at least in Skyrim, it was just part of the joke, right?
It became a meme. I don't know if it was intentional, but they sure rolled with it.
Yeah.
But you've also got a more recent and one of my most hated games. I know it's really, really popular and people really like it, but I was so hyped for this game and then it was garbage when it came out. But Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful game. Loved it. I love that cyberpunk feel. I love that vibe. It's literally a massive detailed world with a bunch of identical people walking around.
Yeah.
You can interact with the same character model 2 streets away. This is supposed to be a AAA brand new game that's supposed to be 5 years, 6 years in the making.
You mentioned so reused NPCs and character models, but also environments.
Oh my God. I hate
So Star Wars is doing a lot of this. One of the worst offenders for this ever was Dragon Age 2. I don't know if you ever played that.
I've only played Inquisition.
Okay. Dragon Age 2 was just every like dungeon that you had to fight through was exactly the same.
Yeah.
They were just mirror versions of each other.
There's a fantastic video. I'll make sure I link it. We will link it. Not me. We. About the rivers in Skyrim. Fantastic
I
video.
wish I had a river
I don't know that song.
I could sail away on. Okay, sorry, go on.
But there's a...
No, skate away on. Not, fuck, I sung that wrong.
Apparently we're having a music corner. Music corner. There's a fantastic YouTuber. He's very, very funny. And he follows all the rivers in Skyrim to figure out where they all come from.
Yeah.
Which you would never think about. They're not parts of a game that you would ever want to pay attention to, the end of a river or the start. And they just spawn out of the side of a rock face. But it's that kind of attention to detail that I think games are moving towards now.
Yeah.
So now when you see these cut corners and you see these reused assets, they're more noticeable and they take you out more because we're so used to the good stuff we could be having.
Yeah. So you and I talked about this at the pub beforehand.
The pub beforehand.
The pub beforehand where the real podcast is made. So we were talking about this, about the river thing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it breaks the immersion, just especially in a game like Breath of the Wild, which is so immersive.
It is.
And then you're like, I'm going to follow this river and see where it goes. Oh, look, it just magically appears out of nowhere.
Well,
what's the fix to this, though?
I think it's because a map can't be infinite unless you're making an entire planet like No Man's Sky, which falls there and truly. But if you just have it coming out of a stream that you can't quite access, I don't think that would ever be an issue. But you're giving the player the ability to explore the game in 360 view, but you're not covering off 360 detail. Exactly. You're asking the player to see the whole game. But then when they see the whole game, they see some of the cut corners. And that's why I'm thinking we're asking too much. But games should really just take longer to come out, I think. Because then they can... But if you give the ability to see every single part of the game, and not modded, obviously, not like flying around and like going into God mode, they should be at least have a reason, because you said it like yourself, Breath of the Wild, it's so immersive. I feel like I'm in that world. But you can climb to the top of the Great Deku tree in the fucking woods and it's just polygons. And it's like, but you let me do that. I'm not breaking the game to get there. Why is it not done?
Yeah.
The girls that get it know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No. I get what you're saying. So like, yeah, just let the river trail off into the distance in an area which has environmental factors, which means I can't get there, right?
I mean, there's something I was going to put in here, which is the invisible wall trope in RPGs, which I actually don't find that egregious. I think a game should be a certain size. It shouldn't be infinite, because then it stretches it all a bit too thin. Yeah. There should be areas that it ends, but Breath of the Wild does it really well. There's one invisible kind of, well, I mean, around the rim you can't, but in the desert you can't go too far and things like that. But where the river flows from, it just spawns kind of in like a pool.
Yeah,
you could just put a little waterfall there. I can't get up there. That's fine.
Yeah. It's a very unusual kind of choice, because there's other parts of the Breath of the Wild where it's literally just a massive Grand Canyon and you can't go any further.
It's a giant canyon.
And it's like, well, why would I go near that? I'm scared of canyons.
I'm deathly afraid of canyons.
They are deep and they are cavernous and full of things I don't want to put my foot in.
And on that note, the final point that I came to, and this is something that I personally find really, really egregious. Some people egregious, another big word, everyone. And I know that collectors really like this, but it's that endless collectibles that RPGs give you.
Who gives a shit?
But the thing is, and I'm going to use Pokemon as a reference because everything's Pokemon or Breath of the fucking Wild. But in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, they have little twinkles on the ground, and I'm just a boy. What do you expect me to do when I'm
just a girl in the world?
When I see a twinkle on the ground, I have to go get it.
Yes, okay.
I need it. Okay. But it's just an item that I'm never going to use.
Yeah.
And it's another thing. It's like those side quests where it's just kind of padding out the game. It's getting you something to do while you're traveling from A to B. I understand it's important, but there's ways to do it that are good and there's ways to do it that are bad.
Right.
Collectibles that mean nothing to you, particularly egregious. So a big example are things like the Riddler trophies in the Arkham games. If you've played the Arkham games.
I have.
Oh my fucking God. Some of them are fun. I think some of them are cool. Most of them just infuriated me when I was a kid because I was young when I played these games.
There's a bit of challenge to it.
There's challenge to those, but there's so many. I think there's like 110 in just like Arkham City. And then you're straying from just like the random collectibles you find on the ground to something that is needed for an achievement, because I know achievement hunters, they're big.
Yeah.
But you've got something like in Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, the Korok seeds, those fucking little games. Yeah, they're cute. Guess how many there are?
It's like 1,000 of them.
Yeah, almost. There's 900 in the fucking game.
Yeah.
And they change around from the first
Don't
game
you
to the
just get
second
a
game.
bigger wallet?
Yeah, that's it. You just get more space to hold stuff that breaks. And first of all, I like the braking system. But yeah, you get more space just to hold stuff.
Right. But by that point, I mean, you've probably done most of the rest of the game anyway.
Yeah.
Like, what do you need more rupees for, dickhead?
Nothing.
Exactly.
You don't. You
Yeah.
don't need an extra space for another glamorous bow. It's going to break after 40 shots anyway.
So, I mean, I come from an era of gaming, like on the N64, with your Marios and your Donkey Kongs and your Banjos and Kazooies. Banjos and Kazooies.
The plurals.
Yes. Anyway. So those, I mean, like 3D platformers and all that, they kind of invented the whole collectathon
They
thing,
sure
right?
did,
And,
yeah.
But it was manageable and challenging to an extent. Some say Donkey Kong 64 took it too far.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was just like, okay, there is 3 or 4 different things of escalating number of which you can collect within a level, and then that's it. This is just like, how do they expect to capture people for so long in an era where they're spoiled for choice?
Well, I think there was a really interesting interview, and I can't quote it perfectly, but it was from from Game Freak, the people that make Pokemon.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how the gamer's time is so skewed now between their phone and the internet and all these different things that they need to make sure that they've got something going on all the time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and this was in relation to Pokemon Sun and Moon, which was like basically a game on rails. They never gave you a single moment to kind of do anything you wanted.
Yeah.
And I think that is a sentiment that's bled through to a lot of games where it's like, well, if we're not hooking the player with something at all moments and we're not giving them the time to do something, they're going to get bored and they're going to turn the game off.
So open world games, right?
Love them.
We
Love open world games.
Let's just be clear,
I
right?
just wanna clarify.
we have just spent the last hour fucking slagging these things off like you would not believe, but we keep buying them.
They're good.
and they keep getting pumped out, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're definitely getting to a point where we need a little bit of originality and
It's
creativity.
becoming the Marvel trope where it was really, really good and now it keeps happening and we're like, oh my God, please do something new. And things are new. There are new things happening, but it's just a little bit of a slower turnaround, I think.
So what makes a good open world game?
I think if you're going to make a game that focuses around you exploring an entire map, make exploring the main part of the fucking game.
Okay,
Prioritize the fact that you can explore and go through all the painstaking detail that the developers put into the game.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild's a great reference to that, where the game begs you to explore it and it gives you bonuses for exploring it. You find cool places.
without like making you anxious with like trying to draw you in a million different directions.
it doesn't really.
It's more like, oh, what's that?
What's that quirky little thing over there? Look at that cool mountain range.
Yeah.
Oh, I found a glowing horse that rides around. How fun.
Not like, you, come here.
But a lot of those things is they're not being told to you. You have to find them. So I think, and not to once again harp on about Elden Ring, but they do the same thing where they're just like, go on. Oh, you can't beat that guy?
Off you go.
You can beat him later. Go and be better. Like the game is not discerned with like you having to go along a certain path. You just get to go and be free. So I think freedom is like the best thing an RPG can give you.
Yeah.
It lets you get lost.
All right. So on that note then, what are some of your favorite open world games?
So I mentioned a few of them. So Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, of course, probably going to come up. In
What a shock.
I know.
Oh my
Tattooed
God.
on me body.
Cannot believe he brought those 2 games up. Can you? If you're surprised, leave it in the comments.
Wink. And don't forget to subscribe to tell me how much you hate hearing about Breath of the Wild.
Like and subscribe.
One that I mentioned before, which really rejogged like a big part of my memory, was Arkham City. I played Arkham Asylum, loved Arkham Asylum. I'm a massive Batman fan, specifically for the villains. I just think the villains are cool. Batman's whatever. He's cool.
Yep.
Arkham City like changed my view of what a good RPG could be. It was really, really fun. I also loved Skyrim. I've brought that up before. That was the first real open world sandbox game I ever played.
Yeah.
Like it just let me be like, go and do whatever you need to do. And then a really good that I don't think was talked about enough is the Red Dead games. I think they're really, really good.
Yeah, I've got the Red Dead games on my list too.
So good. I mean, obviously Red Dead
fun.
Red Dead Redemption 1, so much fun. Red Dead Redemption 2, also great, but it just looked better.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was such a good game. And they were very similar to Breath of the Wild, where it's like, well, there's the main story, but just go wherever the fuck you want to do. Go and do it. There's no leveling up. There's no XYZ. You get a little bit better at your Deadeye and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just the game just begs to be explored, and the developers put a lot of work into the world, so it was worth exploring. It was worth going around and spending your time. So
rock stars are the grandfathers of
the big sandbox. Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, how excited are we for Grand Theft Auto 6? Is it 6?
Yeah, 6 is due out at some point.
Yeah.
In 10 years. There's been a trailer for it, hasn't
I'll
there?
bring it to you in the old folks' home.
Cannot wait until that happens in 18 months' time.
Well, what about you? Tell me about yours.
Well, actually, so I had GTA 5.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
A good option.
And today, even to this date, it still looks better than a lot of other games that are out there.
And it came out, what, like 2016?
Oh, yeah. It's yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like a while ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah. And it's one of those full price games.
I think it was like a 360 PS3 title.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But it's another one of those evergreen games where they just never need to cut the price. It's like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
they don't need to cut the price because it's still good. It's still good to this game.
And the amount of detail in it is incredible. I had Red Dead in as well. I did actually mention The Witcher 3 in there, although I was very paralyzed by how much there was to do in that. I did have a good time when I played it, and I really liked it that you could fuck in it.
Yeah, I love being able to fuck in that game. Shout out to God of War, by the way, for letting me fuck and getting XP for it.
Yeah, exactly. Unlike the people who all say they've got XP for fucking him. The Just Cause series.
What a wild game franchise, can I just say? I've played it on and off.
So much fun.
So much fun. So
it's
stupid.
Fucking balls to the wall. Ridiculous.
It is, and it's good for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the thing. It leans into that. It's not a tropey game. It's tropey and it has similar like cliches, but it leans into being silly. So it's got its own identity. It's not that stretched over skin of the Ubisoft game that we've been talking about.
Yeah, and all the destructible environments and just how, like you can, I'm just going to grapple onto this helicopter and use it to get up to the top of this mountain.
And I've got a bottomless parachute that'll just come from anywhere.
Exactly, yeah. Look, the Horizon series I don't mind too much. I actually, Borderlands 1 and 2 I include in this as well. They are first-person shooter, but they're quite open world. And as you know, I'm a big fan of co-op games. I had a lot of fun with friends back in the day playing these online together.
And they have their own like fingerprint on the open world first-person game, I think. Like, I don't think anything really does it kind of like Borderlands.
Yeah. Mystical Ninja starring Goemon.
If I have to hear that fucking game one more time.
And one I actually haven't written down here in the notes, which was on the N64, which was one of the original open world games, is Body Harvest on the N64. Go look it up, go YouTube it. So it was by a company called DMA Designs, who would later go on to become Rockstar.
Origin story.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
It's, I mean, like when you look at it, you're like, what the fuck? But it was, you got dropped into a map, you could take over cars and all that kind of stuff.
So it's just Grand Theft Auto, but on the N64.
Yeah.
Amazing.
With like very low resolution graphics and you were the size of a house. Right. But it was the original. It was great. So good times. Guess what?
What?
We've got a new segment. What? New segment.
Fuck, we're dumb.
We are really fucking stupid. All right, so Mitch, our new segment for today, because we are the Bargain Bin Gamers. Exactly. So this is a new segment where we are going to highlight a few bargains out there that we think you should consider picking up. Now, I have just gone and trawled through the deepest depths of the online storefronts.
He gloved up for it.
I gloved up. I was elbow deep.
Oh my God.
Like elbow deep, right? Like,
there goes our chances of ever getting sponsored by you.
I have seen some shit. Literally and figuratively.
Davey, get to the list.
Okay, anyway. So these are like, anyway, I was looking for games that I've played. I'm not sponsored to say this, but if you'd like to sponsor me, I need your money. I'm unemployed.
For 2 weeks.
So I want to count. I've got 5 here, right, that I found this morning that I think are well worth picking up. Okay, so the first one is the PlayStation Deal of the Week. So jump in and get this one quick because it might disappear fast. Is a game called Nobody Wants to Die. Now, this is the game I was telling you about at the pub before. So this is from your friends Don't Nod.
Don't nod.
Don't Nod. So
Love
I got this because this game only came out this week. It's 25% off on the PlayStation Store at the moment, only $28. So even at full price, it's not that bad.
I think I'm going to go and get it.
Look, so I found this on a list of games. I think it was on What Culture or something like that, where they said, one of the top games that underperformed this year commercially, which is apparently really, really bad in this day and age to do so. But anyway, I started playing it, and I wish I'd started playing this before I started playing Star Wars Outlaws, so I'm going to jump on this straight away. Amazing, like steampunk mixed with film noir. It looks stunning. The story is like really engaging. Great sci-fi stuff, high concept sci-fi with people.
Don't Nod is good with that.
Yeah. People who swap bodies to stay young and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, I've only played like the first 20 minutes.
And you're already hooked.
And I'm already hooked.
It was worth the 28 bucks.
Enough to recommend it, right? And I'm not getting any kickbacks for that. The second one I want to recommend is It Takes Two, which is currently 30% off on Steam until the 13th of December. So it's only $14.95 or it's $20.98 on the PlayStation Store. It's not on special on Xbox or Switch, although the Switch version would probably be terrible.
Wow.
So, again, I love co-op games. So this for me is the height of couch co-op for a campaign.
I've seen a lot of it, yeah.
Oh, it's so fun. So I played this with my bubble buddy during lockdown.
Of course, yeah.
And it's quite a long game, but what I also love about it is you can also play it online co-op, but only one of you has to own it.
So there you go. You can give it to your friends.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
can play with you.
I actually really want us to play it together.
Yeah, I'm down.
It's super good.
I love a co-op game. I haven't played a co-op game for so long. So.
Yeah. It's fun anyway. So I don't know if you know the story behind it, but basically it's two parents getting divorced.
So us.
And and the little girl does something and they become toys and they have to fight. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like it's just like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but it meets the Parent Trap.
And I guess like we got to like bond again and like
Yeah.
get over it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so full of character, and it's got some really messed up moments in it. Look up the moment where they push the little elephant toy off the cliff.
Wouldn't it be more fun to play jump rope instead? We're really sorry for this.
It's horrendous.
Oh, I've actually seen that.
Oh, it's so bad. When I was playing it, I'm just like, I hate myself for this. Because the toy's just like, why are you hurting me? The third game is a game called Unravel 2, which is currently $8.98 on the Nintendo eShop. It's normally $30. Again, this is another fabulous co-op game, couch co-op game, sort of 2.5D side scroller. You play these two little human-shaped balls of twine. You use your little twine to kind of get through puzzles together.
Oh, fun.
It's super fun to play. Again, another one I played with my bubble buddy during lockdown. The fourth one is a fabulous little indie title called Figment Journey into the Mind, which is currently 95% off on the Xbox Store. It's only $1.99. It's a great little isometric kind of top-down looking game, with really, really kind of dark kind of themes underneath it, kind of abstract. I'm just going to say abstract because abstract makes me sound smart.
But pulling from my toy box.
Yeah,
Taking all these big words.
Anyway, I played it on the Switch, but you can currently get it for $1.99 if you love those kind of deep, dark, and moody kind of indie titles. Which who doesn't? And the final one is the Metro Saga. So, do you know the Metro games?
Yeah, like Samus and Ridley and
No, that's Metroid.
like Metro the trains.
Yeah, well, kind of. I mean, so Metro is based on a series of novels by a Russian novelist, which is set after a nuclear war, and everyone lives in the old metro tunnel systems underneath.
Yeah, I have.
Moscow. Yeah,
I've seen like the game cover. That's about it.
Yeah, well, I love them. I mean, they're not perfect games, but they're really, really entertaining because I love that whole kind of post-apocalyptic kind of story.
Are they spooky?
Yeah, they can be. Yeah. They can be quite hard too. But anyway, the Metro Saga includes 4 games, currently 89% off on Steam, $13.98 for 4 games.
Cheaper than a pint.
And these are AAA kind of games. They're really, really good. So there you go. That's our bargain wrap up for the week. All right, Mitch, what have we got in store for next week?
Thank you for asking, Davey.
You're welcome.
So next week we actually have a proper bargain bin review.
Back to our roots.
Back to our roots. Got to get me roots done.
Exactly. Love a root.
So next week we're going to be going through a new release on the Nintendo eShop. The game is called Ruthless Carnage Hotline.
I bet you cannot wait to find out what
And it
that's like.
sounds great.
Exactly. How much did we spend on it?
It's literally $1.99.
$1.99.
It's cheaper than a fare to Dandenong on the train.
Exactly. To rent this room for an hour is about 1,000% more expensive.
And that was only released on the 30th of August. So good to see the kind of faith that they had in the game. It was released 2 days ago and it's already $2. So
yeah, in fact, it's reduced from what the original full price was of $12. But we'll talk more about that next week.
when we review the game on the bargain bin game. We didn't want to do it together.
Okay, sorry. Go again.
But we'll review that next week on The Bargain Bin Gamer.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give it a big thumbs up on YouTube or follow the podcast wherever you get your podcast from and leave us a 5-star review. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky and follow along on our live Twitch streams. You can also continue the conversation in our BQN podcast Discord by clicking the link in the episode description. Don't forget that the Bargain Bin Gamer is part of a larger network of podcasts called the BQN. You can support this and other BQN programs by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/BQN. We'd love to hear your feedback on the episode. Leave us a comment on YouTube or send us an email to bargainbingamer, GAYMER, @gmail.com. Until next time, au revoir.
Double T Media.